Welcome everyone to the Fireside. We're going to be going ahead and starting. If you have any questions, make sure you move yourselves to the Fireside Q&A. You can go ahead and find that in the news category. It is the second section. It's now open to everyone there. If you want to go ahead and ask questions, you're welcome to do so as we continue the event. Otherwise, feel free to just go ahead and listen. If you see anyone else online, go ahead and drag them up. These are meant to ensure that people are going to be aware of what we're doing with the coalition moving forward. If you want to ask questions via voice, you're welcome to do so. Just go ahead and raise your hand if you've never been in one of these rooms before. It's the little hand button on the bottom hand side. Alrighty. So, quick TLDR. I know some of you guys are relatively new to coming into a coalition-based environment, so I'll give you a quick rundown as to the events that got you here in regards to your corporations and the meetings and stuff that have taken place, because I know people have been hearing this, that, and the other, so I'm just here to clarify everything that's going on. Okay. In regards to Acme AAI, you guys recently joined and come on in, which is fantastic. It's seeing quite a lot of you guys there, which is great. What I want to go ahead and iterate, I know a lot of the guys from AAI are relatively new to coming into things in terms of game mechanics and EVE life as a general. So don't worry about any events or fleets or anything like that you come across and you're just like, hey, maybe we can go on these, maybe we can't. Everyone is available to go on every type of fleet. So if, for example, in the future we ping for something that's relatively high in terms of skill level, you should still be able to come along with it as long as you meet the bare minimum. So to put a ideation under this, I was talking to Relance and Soy a couple of days ago, probably 3-4 days ago, about something like Black Ops fleets. So I know a lot of new bros hear Black Ops and they want to get into it, which is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I personally specialize into that as a fleet commander. So if you are interested in coming along to that, we can get that set up. It won't be immediate because we've got to get all of our stuff moved onto the island. We're moving the coalition as a whole. But if you're interested in something like that, you are more than welcome to come along in a bare T1 bomber. It's more than enough DPS and get you on the grid, get you understanding the mechanics and everything else. Any questions so far before I continue? If you want, as I said, you can go ahead and type in the Fireside Q&A, or you can raise your hand if you want to go ahead and voice your opinion. This is being recorded. No? Okay, fair enough. I was expecting a couple more questions, to be honest. In regards to the move operations, we are going to a system called Enka. That's Echo November Kilo Alpha, ENKA. We are going to be going there to live as a coalition as a whole. Now, the area itself is surrounded by low-sec, factional warfare low-sec to be specific. What that means is, if you're relatively new, you don't understand the terminology that's being utilized here. Factional warfare low-sec is where people go. Oh, hello. I see a question. Yeah, Randy coming up.
So I have a question about stages and Discord as a mechanic. Once I'm up here speaking, am I at any point able to go back down to just listening?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's one of these buttons on the bottom of my screen.
Correct.
All right. And then the question that I had about the meeting with Black Ops, you said just the T1s, or sorry, what did you say the minimum to get into that was?
It would be a T1 bomber, so you would need to be able to utilize a Covert Ops cloak. The Covert Ops cloak is paramount for you to be able to warp cloak. That's necessary for the mechanics of Black Ops. Everything else, though, on the bomber fitting is bare minimum T1 utilization. The reason for this is because even with a bare minimum T1 bomber, you can still get 500 or 600 DPS out of it. Max skills, you can get 900 plus, depending on how you fit it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah, it's fine. Anybody else have any questions before we continue? Okay. Right. So with the move operations, what will be happening is in the next few days, you'll be getting pings from the coalition server. They will be going out, you'll be seeing them in Acme, and you will be seeing them in Steel Phoenix Rising. The move operations will be for everyone, specifically the freighter pilots, jump freighters, DSTs, BRs, that sort of thing. If you don't know what that means, it's basically a lot of T2 and big T1 moving ships, to put it in layman's terms. They're the ones that we're going to be escorting first, because they're going to be moving the bulk of the equipment needed for us to get situated in the anchor region. If you have any personal ships that you want to be moving along, like let's say one of you guys has a Drake or a Raven or something else, you're welcome to bring it along. We'll be doing personal move up fleets as well, or you can bring them along to the move up fleet as itself. Because if we're just moving freighters, we're going to throwing it through a wormhole, so you can go ahead and come along to that one. Or alternatively, we'll be taking the low sec route also with webbing alts and that sort of thing. So you're welcome to come along to those sorts of fleets. They will be coming up in the next few days, maybe a week's time, depending on how situated everyone is on the SPR and Acme side. And I just need to double check with everyone after that. After this meeting, we can go ahead and get started on that. Any questions so far before I continue? Yeah, Irana.
Well, you're saying move ops,
Yep.
and then you mention wormholes and freighters.
Yep.
Wormholes and freighters are not a good mix.
No, they're not.
So it'll be you move one or two freighters,
Yeah.
and then the wormhole collapses.
Depends, because we can have capital-sized wormholes that are going to be leading in and out of the anchor pocket, and I've filled them up to the brim, moved them in and out about 6, 7, 8 times. So the capital
If
ones are what we're going to be using.
if you have a high sec to high sec connection, that's
Yeah.
always at 3 million tons mass maximum. So that's 2 freighter trips, and then it collapses. If you have a C5 or C6, then it's possible, but the chances of getting ganked in one of those wormholes is also pretty high.
Yeah, that's what I said. We're going to be utilizing the high sec ones as much as we can. If we can't, then fair enough. We'll be utilizing the low sec connections. Irregardless, though, the move ups are going to go and be underway in the next couple of days to a week's time. We'll be moving a lot of stuff up to the pocket as needs be. If we need to do it via DSTs, it'll take longer, but we can still get it up there.
Is the old low sec POS jump bridge option still viable, or did they remove that completely from the game? It's been some time since I looked into that, but
I'm not too certain. I know about the pause mechanics being changed, them moving into upwell structures, but aside from what changes they implemented, I'm not certain. I'll be honest, I'm not certain.
Yeah, they changed the upwell jump bridges to just be in nullsec. So I'm guessing they changed the pause mechanics as well.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to I'll have to check because I don't know a great deal about pause mechanics. That was before my time in the game. Randy, as for capital-sized holes, you can get them in high sec quite frequently. In the anchor pocket, you get them a lot. So, to answer your question, they do spawn. C5, C6 connections spawn as well. It's literally a luck of the draw RNG sort of thing. That's basically what it is. If that answers your question. Irana, if you could move yourself down, we'll carry on with the rest. Thank you. Right. Once we've got everybody situated into the anchor region, what we'll be doing is I'll be getting started. We'll go on a close to a 3 month or a 2 month kind of downward slope. And what I mean in that regards is the activity will be primarily based on teaching individuals fleet mechanics, operations, defensive maneuvers, as well as offensive maneuvers, and your piloting skills. So that's the way you can fly a ship, the way you can utilize your environment to be working for you, as well as general game mechanics. You guys will be taught this throughout a 3 month period, so you'll have a bare minimum understanding of exactly what to do, what not to do, sort of thing. A lot of the guys here already have that mechanical capability and above. The examples are Irana and Mio and myself. as well as you, Trick. You guys already know your FC is very good at what he does. I've only had a brief chat with him, but I already know that he knows his shit. So I'm going to be very excited to coming along and fleeting with him. I want to have us utilize those first 3 months to make as much money as we possibly can. The reason for this is when there is a move operation that goes ahead for a coalition of this size, or an alliance of this size, or a corporation of this size, coming out of a war, we need to remember as a collective that we're just getting out of, a high stress region, moving to a new one. The first thing we should be prioritizing on is literally de-stressing everyone. So taking the time to unwind, relax, get used to new things, and then building ourselves up, which is why the 3 month process is there for you to make a shit ton of money. The money will be made through mining, ratting, wormhole diving, as well as having some fun on fleet operations, Wolfpack fleets, Black Ops, guerrilla warfare, tactics, terrorism, that sort of stuff. Don't worry about the whole fucking media jump scare terrorism. It's not like it is in the it's not like it is in the news. You will be blowing stuff up, but it's gonna be fun. Alrighty, what do I have here? Surrounding. Do we have a friendly structure in the surrounding low-sec systems to sign onto rather than gates? At the moment, Reginald, we do not. The reason for that is because I don't want to be putting down unnecessary structures from the get-go that we are not able to immediately defend. To give you a click-out example for this, so with your guys with AAI, not all of you, to my understanding, I may be wrong about this. Not all of you, to my understanding, have joined the Acme Discord as well as the Coalition Discord. This goes the same with the Acme boys and the SBR boys. So, in return, in terms of response time to bodies available, what this means is if, for example, one structure gets engaged or attacked, and I call on the entire coalition, which is about 500-600 dudes here, and I'm only getting a response of like 20 people, something's not quite right. So in this Discord, we have about 50 to 60 people. And the coalition size is substantially larger than this. I should be having at least 100 or 200 people in the audience here, but I've only got 19. So to get that in perspective, we need to get everybody into the Discord available, active and aware for situations like this. Because if we just start putting a structure down in LowSec, which I'm more than happy to do, but if we don't have the people operational to be able to defend it, then it's kind of like, putting a big kick me on the ass sign sort of thing. We will be doing it in the future. That would be after the 3 month grace period of everyone having some relaxation, some time to get to know one another, fleet operations, money making, all that jazz. Once that's out of the way, then yes, we will be going for low sec expansion for the ice system that's that's near the Anchor region specifically. I want to go for that one because I know it's going to be great for industry, great for a lot of the dudes doing mining and just getting their skills up as well. And the fantastic thing is, it's factional warfare space, so the traffic is going to be relatively decent. We know some of the people in the region, or Soy knows some of the people in the region, so we're going to be going ahead and opening up connections with them. Once that's established, then yes, we'll be able to utilize signers to go back and forth from the pocket relatively easily. For the time being, though, it's not going to be a possibility, but it will be something for the future, for certain. I hope that answers your question. Alrighty. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So with what was it? The expansion. So with the low sec expansion, what we're going to be doing once that's up and we're occupying the ice system, this will be after the 3 month period, and this comes into the question that a couple people have been asking is what to do with taxation. Now, taxation is a necessary thing for the coalition as a whole, as well as your corporations and alliances to function. It doesn't work like reality, thankfully, where your money just gets disappeared and the government does fucking stupid shit with it. They don't have. There's no traceability. Is what I'm getting at. With the coalition, you will have a traceability for that factor. Once we have the system in place to basically show you what's going on, where it goes, how it gets utilized, and what it's being used for. I do not have that system in place at the moment because the coalition is extremely new. So everything as current, what you're seeing and hearing from all the operations, from myself talking, it is yet to be made. So there are going to be no taxations for the first 3 months when we get into Anchor. Once there are taxations, it will most likely be 10% at the maximum, with the exception to coalition specific operations. So if I say on a Sunday or something like that, on a particular weekend, and that we have a moon pop, and I say all the ore moon for this one single operation goes towards the coalition. This goes to the armory for us to build and make ships for you guys to utilize on different fleet operations. Then that'll be that's cut. We don't need to worry about it, and it's done from there. As for hard taxation, so for example, ISK or anything else, that will be dependent on your specific alliance. So if you're with SPR, Steel Phoenix Rising, Mio is your guy to talk to for that taxation. He will be deciding how much you guys pay for that sort of thing, for ratting tax, mining, anything else. If you're with the AAR guys in Acme, then your go-to is going to be Relance. He's making or in the process of making an alliance for you gents, so he will be the guy to go to. At the moment, there is no model, there is nothing to do with it, so it's not something you need to worry about immediately. It is for the future, so just kick back, make a shit ton of money. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be huge. It's just going to be 10%, probably at the maximum. And I guarantee that it won't go any higher than that. If it does, then people have got problems, and I'm going to be the first one to speak up, so don't worry about it. Any questions, comments, or concerns so far? Alrighty. A poll to track our skill disparity and plan content for our members. Can you expand on that a little bit, Soy? So if you want to come up and talk, that's fine. If you want to keep it text, that's fine too. So Vindy hot drops 24/7. Yes, Utrick. Vindy hot drops 24/7. No, Utrick. Of course, I'm not gonna do Vindy hot drops. So coming up, bud. Fantastic. Good.
Yeah, I was thinking like a poll to test what people can do, so that way we make like a schedule and a plan for like running fleets. Like
Oh, I
if
see.
people can, interdictors that
Mm-hmm.
can run bubbles, that gives us an entirely new realm of content to explore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. So you want to situate people to specific groups and then bring them up in regards to those sort of skill orientations.
Yeah, because if we don't know what we can do collectively,
Mm-hmm.
we're not ever sure of what kind of content we can engage in.
Right. Then best way I can answer that is that's the reason for the fleet operations. Utrick would probably be able to back me up on this. If we've got because we've got ourselves a doctrine that we're going to be utilizing. It's shield-based doctrine. There's also an armor one as well, but that's going to be for different engagement types. What I'll be focusing on for the first 3 months is skilling people towards the shield one. Once I feel that people are skilled towards the shield doctrine, no Drake's Reginald. You can't bring goddamn Drake. Once we get people skilled towards the once we get people skilled towards the appropriate shield doctrine, then we'll go ahead and bring them into the arm one. I don't want to be doing it to a point where I tell you to, there's fucking 20 different doctrines and you're going to train 6, 7, 20 bajillion different things, and everyone's skill trees all over the place. I want it focused to the point where we know what we're doing. There's a doctrine everyone's going to be following. If we've got a response force to engage towards, they're going to be going towards the shield doctrine. And once that's done out of the way, then we can go for the armor one. And then once that's out of the way, then we can start engaging on the more specialized stuff. So bubbling. Bubbling is really specific. We can't utilize it in high sec. We can only utilize it in null sec. You can't utilize it in low either. So I would want to get people into it, but it's not going to be an immediate priority. What I would prefer to get them into, if they want to go into be a bubbler, for example's sake, is fast tackle. that sort of stuff. So anything that's a fast stack-up-based ship, like a Condor, Crow, that sort of thing, get them into that, have them understand the mechanics behind it, because the mechanics behind that and interdictor are relatively similar. So once they get that basis down, they have the groundwork for it, they can then build themselves up, get the skills required, and then continue to go from there. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, yeah,
cool. All right, if you want to move on down, perfect. Let's see, a couple more questions. Seat, yes, Randy. Seat is one of the things that I want to go ahead and move us to. Problem is though, is we're gonna need an IRL-based server to host off of. There's some code and all that sorts of crap to deal with. So if any of you guys are good or decent, or at least to have some knowledge of code and the server side, client side sort of mechanics of things. If you can poke either myself or Relance for this, I would like to get that up and running in the future, but it's not going to be something that I want to go ahead and work with straight away because we don't have the means to get one up and going. If people do have the means or they've got the capability to get that thing working, fantastic. We can go and work with you and try and get that operational. But for the immediate instance, it's not going to be something we're focusing on. Alpha fits top quality, teaching downgrade to skill levels, that goes on the side. Managing 100 people's skills. Yeah, no, you're correct on that, Aldrich. That's why I've got the fittings based on a T1 meta specific. So the T1 meta will allow from them to be utilizing anything from, say, a Tristan upwards to like a fucking Raven or something. But it's all going to have T1 and T2 variations of each ship. So if they opt for a T1, for example's sake, they'll still be able to come along to the T2 fleet ops, people who have T2 stuff, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. Like with guys who have come on the NATO fleets with us in SPR and ACME, they've had, the majority has been T1 tornadoes, but there have been a good handful of people who have T2. They still come on the fleets, they still go operational, and they've still gone on multiple kills. So as for that question, I would say the streamline for the fitting tree is going to be very paramount. So I want to talk with you after this on the doctrine that I have. I'll throw it at you. We can bump heads and see if there's anything that needs to have any work done to it, if there's any additions that we can add to the current doctrine, and we can go from there. Perfect. Stella, you said we run our own seat install currently. Fantastic. If you can DM Relance, you, me, and him can have a chin mag after this as well, and go from there. And that'll be great. If you guys have already got something like that going, we can go ahead and hopefully get this off the ground very quickly, which would be very, very nice. Any other questions from anybody before I wrap this up? The straw poll from SPR. Can I be? Yeah. Yeah. The straw poll and SPR. Randy, what was the straw poll regarding? I wasn't aware of this because I've only just come back from the family of an outing. All right, I'll take a look at it after this. The crack with industry options. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more, Reginald? Structural location. Okay, so that's a fantastic question. Industry structural locations are going to be dependent on where your CEO or your alliance CEO tells you to put them, if for lack of better explanation. Starting off, I don't want us, I say I don't, but it's going to be very important that we don't have too many structures down straight away. It's going to attract a lot of attention. It's going to be a pain in the ass to upkeep, as well as when it comes to timers. If we have like a lot of timers, it's going to be very difficult. So I would like to keep it to as small a figure as possible. I would like to keep it below 8 structures, ideally below 6, if we can do so to start off with. We're going to have to start small. Once those structures have their foundation, Reaper most likely, unfortunately. So, yeah, no worries. Most likely, we're going to be starting off extremely small with the structure amounts. The locations are going to be, if it's for the industry side of things, you will need to talk to PJ, unless there's somebody better at doing industry stuff than him, who I have not been made aware of. He's going to be the guy you want to go to have a look at that. He got him into the end pocket. He's going to take a look around, the pocket, see where we can utilize different industry stuff. If he finds a location he likes, then go talk to him. He's going to be the one looking at all that sort of stuff. In the rear yard area, he's also going to be taking a look. He doesn't know about that yet. PJ, you're going to have to get on that afterwards. Sorry to dump this load on you. Take a look at the rear yard area. If there's any good stuff in there, we'll be going and checking that area out, because that's an ice belt system. I'll go ahead and poke PJ after that and tell him about this sort of thing. I've been getting that as well. So there'll be structure locations in the anchor pocket as well as the rear yard system, which is outside of the anchor pocket. Let's see. Yeah, Irana, go ahead and coming up, bud. Here you go.
Hello.
Hey, bud.
I checked the entire Anka region. It's just a small pocket.
Yeah, it is.
And since there are only 2 systems in that pocket that can feasibly drop stations where we can do moon mining, I checked all the moons in those systems. Our Veil has no stations, at least not to mention there are a few, but there are no moons that are worth mining. You'll if you're lucky, you'll make a small profit. If you're unlucky, you'll just break even on them. And the Palpis system, that already has over 21 structures deployed on all the good moons. So everything is either taken, or what is available will make you a net loss or barely break even.
Okay. I will have to go and deploy them into the rear yard area, or Shastal, as PJ is saying here, which is 2 jumps. But 5 jumps over from rear. Yeah.
But what this means is that if we cannot supply regular mining operations for what most of the miners like to do, mining in the Anka pocket, they'll not move there. Or they will see less reason to move there. So
the thing is it's not, the coalition isn't going to cater to just miners. The coalition is going to be living up in the anchor pocket. It's not going to have everything. There's no region in the game that has everything that everyone's going to like. There's going to be sacrifices, benefits, and gains and drops and that sort of thing. To make the mining side of the situation work, if there's no structures worth being able to put down, we can still utilize wormhole engagements and drops and diving to be able to do operations in there, as well as diving into shattered regions to be able to pick off the plethora of available things also.
I know, but I'm thinking of the 1 month or 2 months old characters here that just want to log in, warp somewhere, and go mining.
If they want to do that, the rear yard pocket is perfectly available for them. As PJ is putting into the Fireside Q&A, there's a system in Shastal that's 2 jumps over. If you want to go ahead and occupy that, we're able to do so. Rear yard is more the area that I'd like to focus on, because it has a predominant ice pocket, and that's going to be good for the people who enjoy doing ice mining. So I'd like to get them onto that first. If we expand into the nearby regions, that's fantastic. We can go and have a look at that. I just want to have a good lay of the land where we can understand where we're going to be going, and from there start putting down structures. If it's not going to be in the anchor pocket and that's going to be, kind of industry barren, that's fine. We can still have indie dudes there who do wormhole dives and ops through that area, and it's still going to make them as much money as they would be doing in rear yard or Shastal or any of the other stuff. It's just going to be, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how frequently the operations are run.
It'll be good. We'll see how many people actually end up moving to the pocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna be calling the most of SPR's gonna be moving there. I know I'm already up there. I've moved 120 bill worth of stuff up there, so it's gonna be fantastic. That's right. PJ coming up. Hey, bud. PJ. PJ. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the next person. Marcus, coming up. And I cannot seem to invite him to speak. I'll go ahead and move PJ back down. Okay. Marcus, stay well.
Yeah, just that PJ might be having an issue with his mic.
No worries, that's fine.
But that's part of what I wanted to speak about.
Yeah, go.
What Arana was saying is quite correct. I mine. That's basically all I do in this game. And if there's no or very little moon mining in the pocket, then it's not going to really work for me. But I'll take my guidance from PJ because I work with him on all that.
Yeah, that's fine. Like as I was telling Arana, the industry side of the pocket isn't what we're focusing on. It's more to have a region where the entire coalition kind of sits, based out of. If we want to do industry there, that's fantastic. We can do industry there. But ideally, the industry side of things is going to be done in RearVyard. If there's external systems outside of RearVyard that we want to go ahead and take a look at, we can go ahead and expand and go into them. If people want to do industry in the pocket, we can engage on wormhole operations and dives to be able to go ahead and feel the industry side of things. No worry, PJ. Don't worry about it. If your voice on the low side of things, just take a rest.
Well,
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I
No, you're fine.
I don't do indie as such. I don't build nothing. I just mine,
Yeah,
reprocess.
that's fine, bud. Yeah, good.
And that's I'm quite happy to do that. Just mine it, reprocess it, and sell what I like.
Yeah, if that's what you're more than happy to do, then that's all right. We'll still be doing operations outside of, inside of the anchor pocket, which would be to do with wormhole diving. So if we come across a shattered wormhole, let's say Soy comes across a shattered wormhole,
No,
and is like,
no.
hey, we got this. Does anyone want to come along? It's in the anchor pocket. It's in the Euclid system. We can get a whole bunch of people in like fucking barges or whatever and dive in and grab a whole bunch of dark glitter or whatever else, and then just run off with it. You guys will be making quite a bit off of just that ore in the ice alone.
On the subject of wormholes, I
Mhm.
lived in a C5 for a little while.
Say again.
I lived in a C5 for a little while,
Yeah.
and after losing my second Docker set, I decided wormholes weren't for me. I won't go in a wormhole.
That might be because of the way you were playing around it, Marcus. Did he have people teaching you the mechanics and telling you how to do things?
Kind of, but
That's probably why then, bud.
they were trying to teach me, but
Right.
sometimes you don't always get it first time round.
Yeah, that's the whole point. But if you lost a couple ships in a wormhole and you don't want to go back to it, that's up to you. But if you give it a chance, what I can guarantee you is once you do learn the mechanics from the people teaching you, in this case, myself, Soy, and a couple others, I'm sure Utrick has some experience in wormhole diving as well. Um, and you get the hang of it, you won't really need us for if you want to go diving by yourself and just making money. Because once you learn the mechanical behavior behind it, it's relatively easy for you to solo dive. You can use me as an example. I go and run C5 solo in my golem, like on a consistent basis. I can be in there for like a day and then come out with 3 bill in loot or more. And that's just by myself.
Yeah. Well, maybe I won't say never, but
Yeah,
I'm very reluctant to stick my butt in a wormhole.
don't worry about it. It's understandable. You had that loss. You don't want to be going for it again. I get that.
Yeah. But like I said, I'll be guided by PJ. I basically work for PJ, so.
Yeah, no, I know that, but PJ works for Mia.
Well,
Mia
yeah.
works for me. I know
So
how it works.
whatever PJ's comfortable with, I'll go for.
Yeah, that's fine. Alrighty, let me see if there's a couple of the questions here.
You can drop me out now if you want.
Oh, you can just move yourself.
Okay.
I'll just move it. Alright, there you go. Let's see. These other structures owned by bigger boys, or could they feasibly be removed? They're contacts of myself. So I was living up in the Anchor Pocket prior to the formation of the coalition. The individuals there are industry based. I know them, and we could probably get some form of docking rights or engagements to the moons and that sort of thing from them. Alternatively, we could just buy the thing outright and plonk our own stuff down there. But that's going to be something that we'll have to go and eyeball for the future. I don't want to be going and buying up everything straight away. Not that I can't, it's just that I don't want to be putting down too many things unless it's necessary to do so. Indy's a front face, and be close to rear yard. I'll ask for good pockets. Tatara, you want to put down a Tatara. Putting that one down will be okay, but I would like to have a little bit of an explanation as to income, output, that sort of stuff, what we can make off it, all the little bells and whistles, if you wouldn't mind, PJ. And then we can go ahead and talk about that and go and have a chat about the Tatara, because the Tatara is going to be a relatively large thing. I just want to make sure you guys are getting as much out of it as you possibly can, or if there's maybe a better location that you can go with. In order for us to move, should pin the industry conversation, PJ and some of the. Yeah, so for the industry sort of stuff, guys, I know you have a lot of worries and questions about it. I understand the Anchor Buck isn't going to be amazing for a lot of you indie dudes, but just trust in PJ. He knows what he's doing. He's got ideas for that sort of stuff. If you have questions, go ahead and poke and prod and harass him. He's going to be your best bet for the industry side of things. So just if you have any questions and that sort of thing, just go ahead and poke him. If it comes to wormhole diving or anything like that, Soy, Relance, and myself, you guys, we're going to be running the operations from there. I'm certain U-Trick will be coming with us as well. And we'll be doing a lot of dive operations, a lot of money-based operations for that. Randy has also been doing quite a few wormhole operations as well. So look out for his pings. I'll give him the chance to go ahead and do pings in the coalition server if he wants to. So if you want to come on Wormhole Ops with him in the Anchor Pocket, fantastic. Go with him, make some money, do the ice mining or ore mining that you want to be doing in the wormholes in that area as well, because you could be utilizing that. There's also gas there too, which is fantastic money. U-Trick, if you want to kill them, well, we could do so, but let's make sure we have all of our stuff there first. Yeah, let's get a foot in the ground, so to speak, before we go ahead and start butting heads with people. That'd be fantastic. I wouldn't be against it. I mean, he was a contact. He is a decent lad. I didn't have any issues with him. But if you want to go butting heads with him, that's a completely different thing. I mean, I would not be against it. I will say this though, he has a lot of contacts himself. So unless you want to prepare for a war off the bat, I would say let's probably go the more friendly route to start with, and then slowly work him out of it. Yeah, a home in Shastal would be good. If Rearvyard looks like your place to go, PJ, then fantastic. Make it that. I would want to have Rearvyard as kind of the main area because it's got ore, it's got ice, it's got moons. If Shastal is where you want to be doing the majority of your moon mining for the coalition, fantastic. We can work it over there. But Rearvyard is going to be kind of the FOB area for the coalition for industry side, so we can go ahead and do that. Yes, Stella Utrick does need to be put on a leash. That's fine. Utrick is like me if I wasn't running the coalition, basically. No moon mining. Ah, so you're thinking of like what are you thinking of, PJ? Just okay, Ria's at 0.6 and no moon. Alright, I see what you mean, okay. Shastalty jumps over. Roger. See a couple people typing. I'll let you guys type out your stuff before we finish up. Next to 0.4 low dead end. I see. Shows the styles 0.5 capable point rocks. Roger. Okay. See, I don't know this stuff because I don't really do industry. It's been a very long time since I've done industry. The time I'd done industry was before moon mining was a thing. So yeah, if you guys all think that Shastal is the area to go ahead and go ahead and start having a look at what you want to get set up there. Have a chat with PJ. He'll come up with those options. Then once he's come up with like a proper plan for it, PJ can come chat with me. We can get something sorted and get that stuff operational as well. Yeah, no worries, bud. I'll leave that to you. All right, see a couple more people typing here. Space is defended, but if we could remove the people and take the low sec over, it would be a great base for the industry side. If that's an option that we can go ahead and do, I wouldn't mind doing so, but it's not going to be. I'm not looking for offensive measures straight off the bat. Like I'd said in the beginning of the Fireside, once we can get the first few months of just kind of like a peaceful state out of the way, people's coffers are fat, they've got money, and all that sorts of jazz, then yes, we can go and start butting heads of people or just burning the shit out of the fucking ground. Then I'm happy to go ahead and do that. But straight off the bat, it's going to be a no. Yeah, I like this sort of meeting too. It's nice. I like being able to get input and feedback from everybody. So it's going to be fantastic moving forward, and we get more and more individuals coming into the Fireside. Speaking of industry and moon mining and the likes, we plan dropping reaction stations, which has to be in low sec. Should we drop it near our indie people or defensive PvP people? Obviously, after our Great Spirit. That is a fantastic question because by that time, we will probably have a mixture of industry and PvP dudes in the anchor side of things, as well as the Shastal Rearvyard area. So, to answer that question accurately, I would say I'm not certain. Based purely off of the hype that we're getting off of PJ's and the industry boys who want to be going over to the Shastal Rearvyard area and the low sec region connected to that dead end, that would probably be the better area to put it in. But if we get a whole bunch of people in Anchor as well, who are more than happy to take the one hole operations and want to have like a reactions based on the low sec pocket that's connected to Anchor, then we can do one there also. It all just depends the level of activity, the amount of people for operational capacity on fleet engagements, as well as how willing and active everybody is on a general consensus throughout the week. These sorts of metrics allow me to determine accurately what we can do if shit hits the fan, or if our station gets engaged, yada yada yada, basically. We can go ahead and put that sort of stuff up. But if it comes to a point where it's not going to be over near the anchor side in the low sec region, and it comes over to the Shastal area and the low sec dead end, then we can go for that one. Either or, it just depends on the metrics towards the end of the grace period. Yeah, no worries, Randy. You go ahead and take care of yourself, bud. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll have the VOD up after. Once we finish up the Fireside, I'll put a link up to you guys. Should get a notification from the Coalition YouTube channel section that's under the Coalition Commons, and you can have a look after. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and tie this Fireside up. I don't want to be keeping everybody too long, unless anyone has any more questions. I see Argus. Hey, Argus, coming up. Hey, bud.
I have is when it comes to fuel, since I currently have 200,000 units of helium fuel sitting in Sizamod.
Yeah.
And depending upon the rigs and all that are input into a station, I can make the shit ton out of it, but that's where I'm at a catch 51 because I'm indie and I'm wanting to, thanks to you all, I've got the want to do PvP as well. So how would I go about being able to do both?
You just come on whichever fleet interests you, but there's not really any better way to answer it. So if you want to do fuel production, you can do that on the side. If you want to do PvP, come do PvP. You don't have to stick to any specific one. I mean, if you want to, that's your choice. If you want to come on both, it's your choice. I personally don't do industry because I just don't like it anymore. I like to watch things blow and burn and kill things, but that's just me. Um, it's completely up to you. If you want to do both things, you're welcome to do both things. You just don't have to wholeheartedly focus on any one individual aspect of the game. You know, it has a whole plethora of things that you can and can't do. It's just up to you
Right.
to go ahead and take that choice.
It's just I'm when I first started out, I really wanted to do industry because I seen that's where a lot of the ISK was. And now that I've done a few PvP things, it's like, hey, there's a greater chance for ISK here. I kind of want to do this, but I kind of want to also be able to supply shit. Because like Mio has said more than once that I can disappear for 2 weeks, and then when I pop back up, I go, oh, here's 300 ships, or here's 200,000 units of fuel.
It's as I said, bud, it's up to you. If you want to be doing industry things and you want to stick to that, stick to industry things. You want to come along with PvP operations, you are more than welcome to. It is purely up to you. If you do industry on the weekends and you do PvP during the weekdays, fantastic, come with us. It is like it's your thing. No one is going to be telling you to go do any one specific thing. It's your choice. Like, and this is coming from me. I'm leading Acme's side and SPR's side, and the future individuals that will be coming into the coalition as well. Are for lack of better words, and not to sound like a fucking dictator or anything, but for lack of better words, they're going to be answering to myself.
Right.
And so if I'm telling you, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, you want to go do whatever the fuck you want to do, go do it. Ain't no one gonna stop you. So long as you don't start like causing shit with other coalitions or alliances or corporations, then whatever. Go do what you want. I have no problem with it.
I'm not a shit starter, so
that's fine.
Unless I get permission to start said shit.
Yeah.
But also, what are the chances of us possibly doing a sovereignty?
Sovereignty. So you mean like nullsec?
Oh, I don't know if it's straight up nullsec or if you can do it in worm or lowsec.
Sovereignty, sovereignty specifically in the game caters to nullsec, because you can't own a piece of high sec, you can't own a piece of low sec, and you can't own a piece of NPC or wormhole space. You can only live in those areas. You can't put a flag down that says you own the space. The only way you can do that is in nullsec. So when you say sovereignty, I think of nullsec, because those other regions, those other areas don't realistically count. It's like renting a house sort of thing. You live in it, but you don't own it.
Right.
So if you mean nullsec, that is, if we do come to do that in the future, this is purely example. If we do go ahead and do that in the future, then maybe I don't know. That's too far in the future for me to answer accurately. Is the best way I can put it. Because to take nullsec is to have a very strong, very large, highly skilled operational force behind us. Because we would need to be kicking other said very large, very operational forces out of said region for us to go ahead and take it at the moment. And as Iran has put in the Q&A, there's zero chance of taking Sov right at this moment unless we hire a nullsec from a big block. So basically, what Iran is stating here is we would become renters, and that's not something I'm willing to do. Like, fuck that shit.
Right.
If we're gonna take it, I'm gonna big dick it and swing my fucking dong, plant it on the table, and be like, "This is my fucking place." That's what I would do.
And another
Zero
reason
to
I
burning
asked,
Rome in a single meeting. You're 100% right. Relax.
And another reason I'd asked on that is when the first alliance that most of us were in, and it was all being dropped on to Meow, I was doing a mad dash to try to bring up stats to help him.
Yeah. Well,
And
if you don't mind me cutting you off super quickly
I think
to put it
maybe 100
August,
days from being able to do sovereignty level 1.
Yeah. So to cut you
And
off
that could possibly help us in the future.
Yeah. That's fine, bud, but I'm not your old alliance. The
Did I lose everybody?
Yeah, the coalition is not your old alliance. If you guys still have like any kind of qualms with your old alliances, coalitions, corporations, what have
Hello?
you. Yeah, can you hear me? Argus? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Just give me like a wave in. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so you guys can hear me perfect. I just moved Argus down. I think you might be having some net issues. So to finish off what I was trying to say to him, if you guys have any qualms or anything like that with your old coalitions, your old alliances, and that sort of thing, we're not them. To be honest, I don't know everybody's history. I don't know everyone's state of mind, that sort of thing, and I can't possibly know it. It's not realistic. But if you have any qualms and that sort of thing, the best thing that I can say to you as a coalition lead is we are not the old people you flew with. I'm hoping that in this single Fireside and some of the fleets that you guys have been on with me, that you'll realize that I'm pretty logical and empathetic when it comes to things. So please understand that when it comes to doing specific operations, events, maybe engaging with people on an offensive front, all of that stuff is taken into account in a logical manner. If you have any maybe potential problems, bad vibes, or you have a complaint or something, we have a suggestions box, or maybe tell your alliance CEO and maybe they can whack me on the head or something. One or the other. That's fine, August. Don't worry about it, bud. Just let me know when you're good, and you can bring you back up here if you have any more questions. But what I'm trying to get at here, gents and ladies, is I'm not the old people that you went and flew with. We're doing stuff that's completely new, brand new. Not everything's set up, so there's room for expansion. There's room for ideas. If you have ideas, go ahead and throw them at people, the right people who are running the things that they need to be doing. If you want things to change, you want things to be going in a specific direction, there's a suggestions box. Identify your alliance CEO, tell them, tell me. If they're not telling you and they're not telling me, then there's a problem, just come to me directly. Everything is open. There's a lot of transparency here. If you want to know about certain things going on, just fucking ask. Alrighty. If there's no more questions, let me go ahead and have a look down here. Burning things, burning Rome, that sort of thing. Alrighty, if there's no more questions from everyone, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Fireside. I'll give you one last chance here, boys. Any questions, concerns, comments, that sort of thing? Yeah, go ahead, Mia. Go on, Mia. If your chain of command hasn't or doesn't answer concerns or whatever, you know what's up. Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. That is 100% the point. If you guys have been in an older chain of command that doesn't tell you what the fuck's going on or explain it in a clear-cut manner where you get it within a sentence or maybe a paragraph or something if it's a relatively large thing, then your chain of command isn't fucking doing shit right. That's the best way Mio could fucking word that thing, and he's taken the words right out of my mouth, basically. If your chain of command doesn't tell you what's going on, how it's working, and how it's gonna either benefit you or maybe kind of dampen you on some shit, whatever, then they're not doing things correctly. Plain